Hi, everyone. My name is Sherry West, and I'm the founder and CEO of Live Girl. And along with MediaGirls, I'm so excited to welcome you to our social media wellness and empowerment workshop tonight. So here at Live Girl, we're all about building confident, inclusive leaders and addressing those things that are holding girls and young women back. And right now, we see a big thing holding girls back is social media. For those that aren't properly prepared for social media, it can cause increased anxiety and lower self-esteem. And I have to tell you, I'm a parent of 3 myself, 2 now in college, 1 in high school. So I've been down this road with social media. It's a tough one, but you're in the right place. And I always like to say, and actually MediaGirls likes to say, that you wouldn't give your daughter the keys to the car before sending her to driver's ed, right? So tonight we're giving you the social media education that you and your daughter need to safely and positively curate that experience. We're actually going to start with a quick poll. So tonight we're going to keep it interactive and fun. We're going to start with a poll, and then we're going to have our expert from MediaGirls join us for a quick presentation. And then we're going to break out into some Zoom breakout rooms, and we're going to hear from all you and do some activities. So it's going to be interactive and fun. And I promise that you're going to walk away feeling more confident on how to use social media for a positive, uplifting experience in your life. So we are going to start with a poll. And so Amanda Delazon, who is our brilliant, amazing marketing and engagement leader, is going to put our poll up. And if you can go ahead and answer that first question, do you use social media, yes or no? And Amanda, when you get the results in, you can read off the answers, or can you see them or I see them?
I can see them.
Okay. And if you want to share the results when everyone's participated.
Okay, so we have, do you use social media? Yes, got 80%, no, got 20%. And then what are your favorite social media apps? We have Instagram at 40%, Snapchat at 20%, Twitter is 0, which is surprising, Facebook 10%, and other 30%. I'm thinking TikTok.
Excellent. Well, that's great. Thank you so much for participating in that poll. And that really gives us a sense of the social media landscape in the room tonight. The next thing I'd ask you to do is if you can go ahead and pop a word in the chat about how social media makes you feel. So just think about an adjective that describes how social media makes you feel. And if you're a mother and daughter together tonight, you can pop 2 words in the chat. Okay, so we see insecure, and we see a second vote for insecure. And any other words about how social media makes you feel? Included and powerful, okay. Powerful coming from one of our high school senior fellows, Taylor, who's going to be talking about later, because she's definitely learned how to use social media in a positive way. Educated on community issues, that's a great one. All right, there's a wide variety there. Again, thank you so much. It helps us really understand kind of the landscape in the room. So at this point, I'm really excited to introduce our expert tonight, here to talk about the social media landscape and to give you some tips and tricks on having a more positive social media experience is Victoria Harding from MediaGirls. For those of you who don't know, MediaGirls is known as the expert in all things social media. They are Boston-based, and they run a number of different programs for parents and for students on curating a positive social media experience. Victoria herself received a Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Media Studies, and she recently completed a year of service with AmeriCorps as a marketing and communications specialist. So she's definitely got the experience we need to talk about social media. And I love her quote, "It's not that social media is good or bad, it's how you use it." So with that, I'm thrilled to introduce Victoria.
Hi, everyone. I'm Victoria. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. I'm just going to be sharing my screen to my presentation. And there we go. So we're going to be talking about today's social media landscape and how you can make social media a more positive experience. So just about Media Girls, as mentioned, we're a Boston-based organization and we focus on bringing social media literacy to young people, especially in middle school. And I just wanted to go over some of our outcomes because I think they relate a lot to what we're going over tonight. As an organization, we want all of our students to recognize body and beauty standards that are reinforced by filtering and editing capabilities that perpetuate perfectionism, evaluate the role and impact that influencers and algorithms on social media have on your beliefs and mental health, apply personal boundaries around content, screen time, usage, and followers that align with improving mental health and wellness, and finally, learning to curate a social media feed that aligns with personal values. So as mentioned, very intention-based social media use. And then first going into today's social media landscape, I wanted to bring up some pictures of recent articles. Social media has been a big struggle for young people, particularly girls, for a really long time. But more than ever in 2021, a whistleblower from Facebook revealed that Facebook has had a lot of statistics about how unhealthy Facebook and Instagram have been for young people. I think one of the most striking statistics from this whistleblower is that 32% of teen girls said when they felt bad about their bodies, Instagram made it worse. And you can see here from a variety of social media platforms, social media really doesn't represent real life a lot of the time. And there's just a really toxic cycle of celebrities and influencers editing themselves to look a certain way, and then young people editing themselves to try and fit these beauty standards as well, or even like just feeling insecure about themselves. So you can see here on the left, this is someone showing how they pose in real life versus on Instagram to make their body look different. You can see here some different filters being used. And as mentioned, a lot of aspects of social media are not good or bad. For example, we talk a lot about why people are using different social media filters and things like that. So if you see here, these filters have different flowers and butterflies and designs, and it's so much fun to experiment and be creative and use them in that aspect. But a lot of these filters are also changing people's faces, the shape of their eyes, their nose, their mouth, covering up blemishes. So sometimes people hide behind these filters too, especially young people. You can even see there's tutorials for using apps like Facetune to edit your face to look different. And even at the bottom right-hand corner, this is someone posting a weight loss motivation picture that just really perpetuates unhealthy body image and unhealthy dieting. This definitely carries into video content as well. A lot of people voted other earlier for their favorite social media platform, which could have been TikTok. Instagram has something called Reels now that is very similar to TikTok, but you're seeing a lot of these body image issues and the perpetuation of unhealthy body standards on video content as well. There are a lot of different trends with filters, as you can see on the left, trying to see if your face is symmetrical, showing how different TikTok filters change how your face looks. People posting different, what we call thinspiration and what has been widely called thinspiration, which is photos of people who are really thin and people saving them and engaging with them, trying to use them as motivation to try and become more thin, which can really be a huge cause of eating disorders and unhealthy body image. You can also see on the right, this is someone trying to see if their side profile looks good. I'm on TikTok myself, and I notice every week it feels like there's a different social media trend and a different metric for beauty where people are trying to see, is my face symmetrical enough? Is the side of my face look nice enough? Like, are my lips the right shape? It's stuff that most people couldn't even come up with on their own. But when they're scrolling through TikTok and engaging with this content, they're seeing more and more of these really unrealistic expectations that they feel like they have to measure up to. And influencer marketing is a big piece of this as well. Again, influencers are not inherently good or bad. Some influencers can teach you about different lifestyles and hobbies and fashion inspiration, but something we really try to teach in our workshop to young people is how to spot influencers. So in this picture, you can see TikTok star Addison Rae, and it looks like she's just in the woods enjoying nature in a cute outfit. But if you look closer, this post was created all to sell people who want to be like her something. So you can see it says in the upper right-hand corner, paid partnership with American Eagle. She's tagged them in the caption and used American Eagle hashtags. And this is showing that when young people are going through social media and thinking, I want to be like this person, I want to dress like this person, sometimes this content's only being made in the first place to try to sell young people things. So this is something to be really mindful of. Again, I try to include other examples. This is more of a micro influencer, just showing their daily routine, what they like for coffee, how they dress going to church on Sunday. So again, it can be a really fun glimpse into people's lives, but just try to remember that sometimes these pieces of content are being created to market to you. And again, just like any celebrity, even though influencers feel a little more realistic sometimes, a lot of these celebrities and influencers are editing their pictures very similarly. Another thing I wanted to bring up is algorithms. And I love using this definition from Sprout Social, which is a social media company. Social media algorithms are a way of sorting posts in a user's feed based on relevancy instead of publish time. Social networks prioritize which content a user sees in their feed first by the likelihood that they'll actually want to see it. So this can mean that you see your best friend's post before a classmate that you also follow. But this can also mean that if you're on TikTok and engaging with videos of women talking about how to become thinner or women talking about how to edit their pictures, the more you're liking these and the more you're watching them, the more they're going to start popping up on your social media. So it can create a really unhealthy cycle of being exposed to unhealthy beauty standards and that type of content. So I try to always make young people aware of algorithms and their power in workshops and in here, because everything you engage with kind of creates what you're going to see on your feed in the future. Fortunately, though, you can make social media a more positive experience despite these problems and obstacles. And one thing I wanted to talk about is body neutrality. So, we've heard a lot about the body positivity movement, and it's made amazing strides, and it's taught people to embrace their flaws or their perceived flaws or anything about them that goes against typical beauty standards, which are also always changing depending on the time you're in and the culture you're in. But body neutrality is interesting because it's trying to not even pay attention to how you look at all. So rather than saying, I love my legs, or you should say, I love my legs because they help me run, instead of saying, I love my legs, cellulite and all, they are beautiful. And this is from our blog, just saying that, suggesting that we should embrace our bodies in comparison or despite the ideal beauty standards kind of shows that our appearances, natural or not, should be compared to the expected ideal body image. That understanding might also dangerously incite unhealthy body image habits, diet culture, eating disorders, etc., and encourage girls to prioritize their appearance and how they perceive themselves. So again, we like body neutrality and body positivity, but if you're still struggling and comparing yourself, kind of using the body positivity technique of recognizing your perceived flaws, body neutrality can be a lot more helpful, and just celebrating your body for what it does for you. And discussions for parents and daughters to have either before you make social media or after, and keeping the conversation going. I just wanted to provide these tips because I know we have a lot of parent daughter groups on here tonight. The first thing I would say is asking questions. If you're a parent, you can ask your young person what they have for social media or what they'd like to have for social media, what type of people they want to follow, what they want to use it for, whether it's connecting with friends or learning more about a hobby. If you don't have social media as a young person, or if you're a parent and your child doesn't have social media yet, it can be great to discuss what platforms to start with and why they would be more helpful versus harmful. So, as you're trying to figure out what social media you have or what social media your child has, you don't have to have every single account made at once. You can sit down and discuss, would Instagram be good? Would TikTok be good? Or would Twitter be good? And kind of going through the harmful effects of each or the good things. So if your young person wants TikTok because all of their friends are on it, you can be open to that because it seems like where they'll connect with their peers the most, but also just going over ways that you can be exposed to negative content, or you can be exposed to filters that really show unrealistic beauty standards. So just making it really conversational and kind of going through both your concerns and what you'd like to get out of social media can be really helpful. If you're a parent, take interest in the things that your young person is showing you and telling you about social media. So if your daughter's showing you a funny TikTok or an Instagram account that they really like, take interest, ask questions about how they found this person or why they like following them. Because the more you can understand how your child navigates social media and the more enthusiasm you show when they show you this piece of their life, the more they're going to trust you and be able to come with you or come to you with a problem. So if your daughter was struggling on Instagram, if she's already showed you posts she likes and you understand how Instagram works, it's going to be that much easier for her to bring up a problem to you. And of course, this is a constant process, but working together to discuss feelings that your child has related to social media and brainstorming solutions to negative feelings should always be the end goal. And if you're a child kind of deciding, what do I need to feel supported by my parent on social media and feeling like I can approach them when I have negative feelings related to social media. Another thing we like to talk about a lot is self-regulation. A lot, a lot of parents have rules for social media for their child, but it can also be something empowering and something that young people can take control of themselves. So if you're a child or if you're a parent kind of trying to negotiate this relationship with social media, just asking yourself what types of content makes you feel good or bad, what steps you can take to enjoy the time you do spend on social media more. This can be something that feels so subconscious, but it's something that's great to bring to front of mind. Sometimes until you ask yourself this question, you don't even realize what accounts are making you feel badly or compare yourself. But just checking in and asking yourself this can really help you shape your social media experience to be more positive. Asking yourself what things you could be doing to spend less time on social media. Of course, using social media isn't inherently bad, but having too much screen time can have a lot of negative effects between procrastination or not being able to sleep as well, or just being unengaged with other hobbies. We don't want that to happen. So just really also thinking about how you can spend your time outside of social media. And again, how many hours do you want to spend daily on social media? How many you already do versus how many you wish you spent on social media. Sometimes having that set goal can help you set screen time limits or even just check in with yourself and seeing how much you use social media. And asking too, what does it take for you to unfollow someone or mute or block someone? Do you want to wait until someone's making you uncomfortable? Do you want to block someone if an unknown account tries to message you or follow you? These are all boundaries you can think about before something like this happens. And this is a great thing to discuss between parents and children as well. And just, writing these down or talking them out is a great place to start. Another collection of ways young people can combat self-esteem issues on social media, as we mentioned, unfollowing or muting accounts that don't make you feel good. So if you're in middle school or if you're in high school and you have a peer that you follow and you keep comparing your life to theirs, you could think about muting them if you don't want to completely unfollow them and have a potential conflict come up. If you're worried about that, you can just mute them so you don't see their posts anymore. And if you're following an influencer and you don't feel like they're bringing anything positive to your social media experience, you can always stop and unfollow them too. Limiting screen time, either through apps or even just through setting your own screen time goals. Understanding that what you see or what your child sees on social media is not reality. Even besides editing, people are only posting the most positive things going on in their lives on social media. You're only seeing their highlight reel. You're not seeing their fight with their friend or their fight with their family member or the bad grade they got or any other setbacks they're facing typically. So just remembering that other people are going through things behind the scenes too, even if their social media doesn't make it seem that way. Remembering your inner worth. In our workshop, we have all of our young people write out 8 things that they like about themselves that aren't related to their physical appearance. And I think that could be a great journaling prompt or a great conversational thing. If you're a parent, let your child know the things that you appreciate about them and the things about who they are on the inside that you like. reminding them that they're really good at their hobby, or that they're funny, or that they're kind, and making sure that they know this and feel this, because when they're scrolling through social media and starting to feel badly, they'll remember the good things that people in their life said about them. And if you are a young person, making sure that you're thinking about all the things you like about yourself that aren't related to your physical appearance as well. And finally, again, we talked a lot about how social media impacts young people, but parents can have just as unhealthy of a relationship with social media, and modeling that behavior can also have a negative effect on your children. So, some common parent social media behavior that can affect young people are following and engaging with people on social media that are unhealthy for you. If you're scrolling through Facebook and saying out loud to your family, I hate following this person and seeing them on vacation and seeing them do better than me, like it makes me feel bad about myself. That can be kind of normalizing maintaining the social media relationship that's unhealthy to your child. Comparing yourself with others on social media, very similar. Being glued to your phone, especially during family time. If you're a parent and you're setting different rules with phone use, like no phone at the dinner table or no phone during family bonding, try your absolute best to also follow those rules yourself. I think that really builds a lot of mutual respect between parents and children. And again, this is a big one. I see this all the time, even with my friends' parents, portraying you and your family on social media in a way that's different than reality. If you're noticing, you're having a bad day, like your family's fighting, things aren't perfect, try and check in and see if you're coping with that by trying to post the perfect curated family vision on your social media, because that inauthenticity can be something that children engage in as well if they see their parent doing it and feeling like you have to keep up the perfect image. So just checking if any of these pressures impact you and seeing if you're modeling this behavior can be really important. And finally, if you want to stay engaged with Media Girls or learn more about current events that we're talking about or our workshop offerings, you can follow us on Media Girls, at like on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, and you can support us on our website at mediagirls.org.
Thank you so much, Victoria. There's so much good content and expertise there to unpack later in our Zoom breakouts. I especially love your tip on making sure that you curate a feed that feels positive and healthy for you. And I saw this tip somewhere else, and they said to Marie Kondo your feed. So Marie Kondo, of course, is the Japanese organizational expert, and she goes through a house or a room and takes out everything that doesn't make her feel joy and leaves only the things that make her feel good or make her feel joy. And so applying that same concept, Marie Kondo your feed, I think is just a brilliant way to think about it, and to make sure that as you're spending the time in the social media, that content that you're curating, because you get to be the curator of your own feed, is positive and uplifting and makes you feel good. We're going to have time later for questions, Victoria, but one question that I always get, if you could quickly answer this one question now, and then we'll move to our panel, is you talked about how important it is to have that open communication between mom or dad or the caregiver and the student or child, in terms of what social media are you using, how are you using it, what are the family rules. What do you do in that situation if the girl doesn't want to share that with mom, doesn't want to show mom her Instagram feed, or doesn't want to show her what she's looking at on social media? So I get this question all the time. So maybe if you could answer just that one question now, and then we'll hold on the other questions for later.
It can be so tricky. I would say, from my own personal experience, like having parents and having peers whose parents did this, try your best to not come across as aggressive or like forceful, or feeling like these conversations are a punishment. If you can just kind of be open about communication, and again, just trying to ask low risk questions and trying to just build on that, that can be great. Even researching social media current events or trends and asking if they've seen them, that can be really helpful. But just it can be so hard, but making sure these conversations don't feel like a punishment or like you're looking into things too much. but kind of just making it feel light and conversational at first, and just trying to learn about their interests. You could even, if you're at a cafe or something with them or at a small business, say, have you checked out their social media? Like, do you like to follow the places you shop at on social media? Just things like that to get the conversation going without putting them on their defensive immediately.
Excellent. That's great advice. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to get more from Victoria later, but next I'm thrilled to introduce a panel of our brilliant, fierce, fabulous high school senior fellows. We've got three joining us tonight, Stella, Brianna, and Taylor, who are going to first introduce themselves and share their own tip or two on using social media in a positive way. And then they're actually going to be next facilitating our breakout conversations. So why don't we start with Stella?
All right, hi everyone. So my name is Stella and I go to New Canaan High School and I'm a senior. And I would just definitely say that I've recently rethought the way that I use social media. I think in the past, just comparing myself and my life to other people's stories and what they're posting. And, people are only posting, what the most interesting or highlight parts of their day are. So, I think just kind of like moving away from that. And also I recently just deleted TikTok because I realized it was just really addicting. And honestly, the algorithm was just not giving me content that I necessarily wanted to see. So I think that would be my first tip, is definitely just to kind of take a step back and think about, is this TikTok platform really adding joy to my life? And maybe it's a bunch of funny videos or cool recipes. And so it's like, yes, I want to keep this, or maybe it's not, but just definitely reflect. And then also I would say my main thing is just not going on your phone like right before bed, and also first thing in the morning. I found I would just get on my phone and scroll through TikTok or Instagram for 2 hours before starting my day, and instead just really making that promise to myself helped me decrease my screen time a lot, which was great.
Great tip, Stella. I really love what you said about being intentional with what and how you're using social media. I love that. Next, I'm honored to introduce Brianna.
Hi everyone, I'm Brianna. I'm a senior at AITE in Stanford. And I think I just really have one main tip. It might change later, but I'd honestly just say that making sure that like your For You page and like your Instagram feed is true to yourself, like it reflects your personality and like your interest and everything like that. Because I realized like over like the past year or so, I'm just like, why am I following this page? Like I don't really, oh sorry. Like I don't really like it. I don't like their content and everything like that. So just like following, like for example, like I now follow a pottery page, and like I have like a newfound love for pottery, which I never knew I had, but like it did make sense because just like, oh yeah, I loved watching pottery videos when I was younger. So it's like little stuff like that, like, and especially since like if you're watching little stuff like that, then you could be able to incorporate that into your daily routine. Like now I really want to go to take a pottery class because I think it's amazing. But so yeah. And then I changed it. So it's 2 tips. My second thing would also just to be like, as Stella was saying, to be intentional and also like be mindful of your time. Like you need to, like, you could scroll on like TikTok, for I don't know, however long, but also make sure that you set time for yourself, and like you come back and you recenter, like, okay, this is reality. I have work to do, and I have to take care of myself. Like, let me go do like a skincare routine, or let me go read a book. So like also just trying to incorporate that self-care in it as well. So yeah, that's it.
I love that, Brianna. I love pottery too, but I love what you said about being true to yourself. So important. And last but not least, I'm thrilled to introduce Taylor.
Hello everyone, I'm Taylor Pickering. I'm a little sick, so excuse my voice, but yeah, so I'm a senior at East Catholic High School in Manchester, Connecticut. And honestly, for me, I think the biggest thing is just making sure that you're having a positive experience on social media, because oftentimes when there are, there's false advertisement, or if there's like people pretending to be things that they're not or things like that, it's just negativity that you don't need. If that's something that you're seeing that you're on social media, or that, you know, you feel like you're getting out of this experience, you don't have to have it. I know a lot of times people feel obligated to just like, well, that's how I communicate with this person, or, you know, things like that. But I feel like there are other ways that you can figure out other than social media in order to talk to the people that you want to communicate with. So yeah, just don't feel obligated to have it if it's not a good experience for you.
Well said, Taylor. Thank you so much for sharing that tip. So next, we're actually going to move into some breakout rooms. I'm really excited for this. And Stella, Brianna, and Taylor will actually be facilitating the breakout rooms. So we've got three questions that we're going to pose to you once you get into your breakout room. And you'll have like 3 minutes per question. And we're going to bring everyone back here into the big Zoom room at 7:45, where we'll have a few minutes, some time to ask questions to Victoria and all of the panelists before we close out. So you'll be randomly assigned a breakout room. So Amanda is going to do some magic here. And at the count of 3, 2, 1, you can go ahead and join your breakout room. So just for everyone who just joined, we were all saying that we had some great conversation in the breakout rooms, and Taylor was just sharing kind of some of her takeaways from the conversation.
Yeah. So I think the act of being intentional while on social media is very important, just because, you know, the content that you see is also other people making the decision to post like their daily lives or their opinions or even news and stuff like that. So what you see is also what other people will see from you. So you just got to be careful about how you present that, and kind of just make sure it's the best version of yourself that you put out there.
Absolutely. And we were saying that the purpose of that question 1, we're talking about who you love to follow on social media and why, was because it's so important to notice what you notice, right? And to be really curious and to examine who you follow and why you follow them. And that is where the whole conscious competence begins. So that's such an important question, and you can continue to think about that. So we'll open it up for questions. We've got Victoria back, the expert from MediaGirls, as well as our amazing panel. Brianna, Stella, and Taylor, they're all at your disposal to answer your questions. I'll just kick it off because there was a question in the chat earlier that I think I just wanted to follow up on. And Victoria, if you want to take this one. So what do you think is the right age for a child to get social media?
I think that varies so much based on family and situation and intention. I definitely see a lot of middle schoolers getting social media, so I don't think it's a bad time to start. It's definitely an important time to start with having your accounts on private and having the parents be pretty involved in the process, I would say. But the benefit of starting it in middle school and having that conversation with your child is you can really be more collaborative in the creation of these accounts and checking in about them. So I would say, well, if you feel more comfortable with your child getting it later, like in high school or something, follow your gut. There's no perfectly right or wrong answer, but I've been seeing a lot of students start to get social media in middle school. So if you're making that choice with your child, just making sure you're involved and they're taking all the protective measures.
I certainly agree. Just making sure that you're waiting until that child really is demonstrating that they have that responsibility and maturity to handle social media, because once you open that door, it's hard you can't close it. Okay, so we'd just like to open it up to questions. And if you have a question, you can either use the raise hand feature, or you can just simply type your question in the chat, but we'll just open it up to see if anyone has any questions for our experts tonight.
Good. Oh, I just really am so impressed with the panel of young ladies, and I just wanted to know what kind of changed in their lives that made them rethink their approach to social media.
Well, so we can go.
Okay.
I'll go after you.
Okay, sounds good. I think that, to be honest, it was one of the influencers. I was listening to her podcast. Her name is Emma Chamberlain, and she was talking about how she just got to a point where she was weighing, is this helping or hurting me? And so hearing her say it and her say, I just deleted TikTok, didn't even think twice, just deleted it. I was like, you know what? I can do that too. What is this really helping me with, you know? And I was like, you know what? Like, this is actually, it is causing struggle. So it actually was an influencer that led me to kind of come to that.
Brianna?
For me, I kind of had, I was one of the, like, growing up, like in middle school, I wanted social media because everybody had it. Like that was that kid. So when I first got it, it was just very overwhelming. And I had like two major bad experiences. So like first, I was cyberbullied through social media, and like you think that that'd be enough to change my mind, but I still stayed on social media. And then afterwards, like growing up, I always struggled with like body image and everything like that. And on social media, it was just like that times 10. So after a while, I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like I was like, it got to a point where like I was actually like putting my pictures aside, like other like influencers and everything like that. And it was just very toxic. And I was just like, I can't expect myself to even have an ounce of self-love if I'm continuing to feel this way, or if I'm continuing to like look at these kind of things and everything like that. And then that's when I realized, I was like, this is my social media and I have control. And if I want to block this person, if I want to delete it, if I want to do anything with the social media, I can. So that's when I decided, like, I just like did like a whole like cleanse through my followers and like who I was following. And like I started following like more like people that looked like me, so that every time I see them, like, wow, she's a beautiful woman, like, well, everybody's beautiful, but like it'd feel more personal to me because she looks like me. So yeah, so I think it was just starting to realize that I can't expect myself to grow mentally, physically, or grow, period, if I'm just surrounding myself by the same things that hurt me. So yeah.
So beautifully said, Brianna. Thank you. Taylor, do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, for me, I kind of just had to think about my screen time and kind of how much like social media consumption I had, because while social media can be like a great resource and a great thing, it's not everything. There are other aspects of life where you can kind of get the same thing out of it. So I just had to really think about my levels of productivity and what I kind of like really what I wanted to be doing with my time. And social media just like wasn't all of it. So that really would like what made me diminish or like reduce my time on there.
And don't worry, parents, your girls will get to, they're one day soon, they're going to sound like just like these brilliant, fierce high school seniors who are so lovely and so mature and sharing their experience. So thank you all. Any other questions for Victoria or the panel? I think that, Victoria, your presentation was so thorough that I think you may have answered a lot of the questions, but I did just pop your email in the chat. And I'm also going to put in the MediaGirls URL again, because I know that MediaGirls is such an amazing resource, and they do have a number of different programs and online resources. So I would encourage everyone to check out their website at mediagirls.org. And Victoria, I took the liberty of putting your email in if folks have any follow-up questions. But this was just such a fabulous conversation, and I want to thank Victoria and Brianna, Stella, and Taylor for sharing your perspectives as well. And just in closing, Amanda, do you want to make a couple of announcements?
Yeah, definitely. Well, hi everyone. I'm Amanda. I'm Live Girls marketing leader. I just wanted to thank all of you for joining us tonight. Thank you to MediaGirls and Victoria for that amazing presentation. I would love if all of you could stay involved with us. We have so many programs starting up for spring. We have Confidence Club starting next week in person all around Connecticut, as well as one virtually. Make sure to get signed up if you haven't ASAP, because the registration closes pretty soon on that. But we also have college programs, high school programs, so many events, all free of charge. Make sure to sign up for those. Also, make sure to follow our social media. We're really working on that social media for social good. So it's at Go Live Girl, and also follow at MediaGirls to hear more from them. They have amazing tips. And yeah, thank you, everyone. It was nice seeing all of you.
So Victoria, any final words?
I just wanted to thank everyone for allowing Media Girls to come present with this. I loved the questions. I loved all of the other panelists' answers. I think it's so interesting to hear how younger people have been navigating social media, and I'm grateful that I could be a part of this. And again, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions for me regarding social media.
Excellent. Thank you again, Victoria, for your partnership, and thank you to our Amanda and our panelists. And we hope you all have an amazing evening and come back for many more programs with both Live Girl and Media Girls. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye.